Alright, welcome back to Carving with Eric. We've had a busy little bit, and so now we're back to it. I wanted to do these carvings of this hiker that you see. I had done a few and pitched the idea to Woodcarving Illustrated, showed them to them, several different ones, and they decided they were going to run with one as far as an article. And so that hiker came out in summer of 2018, this summer, issue 83. And if you'll turn over on, if you have your issue with you, follow along with me. Anyway, turn over to page 41, and there it is, Carving a Relief Hiker. And if you look at him, there he is, in living color. Now, I've always thought it'd be neat to have an article in here, and I finally got one. I'm extremely pleased to be right next to Harold Inlow, for whatever that's worth, one of my heroes, and really pleased to be in there with one of my modern heroes that I watch on Facebook all the time. I'll flip back a couple pages. Dwayne Gosling. Dwayne Gosling in Hickory, North Carolina, guy that I follow on Facebook and on his carving blogs. It's a joy to be in there with people like that. But, you know, as I always say, you can do one thing one time. Can you repeat it? So I'm trying to get in there with several other articles as well. Anyway, this is the project we're going to work on, and they sent me a copy of it before it came out, and they took the liberty of creating three different patterns. So the patterns that came in were of a duck. I guess you could call him a hunter. I want to say a duck hunter, but you could choose not to. Military guy and a firefighter. Anyway, neat little projects, neat little article that I got in there. I'm trying to get others. And I'd really love to write books sometimes, but you know, that's down the road, and right now I'm concentrating on getting as good as I can. But as you can see, I've done several of these, and I've given a few away, and they had a lot of fun. I taught this up at the Tri-Cities Woodcarving Club's rendezvous up in Kennewick, and had a good time with that. It was a very popular class. I think I had 12 people in that class, and several others that wanted to be in it. In fact, some of the instructors that were taking classes or doing classes at the same time wanted to be in the class, but I was able to sell all 12 of my blanks and had a couple left over for me to work on as we went through the class. Anyway, it's a good class, and I'm teaching this here locally here next month, and fun little class. We're going to get started on this and have a little bit of fun with him. It's been a while since I posted a video here, and so we'll just move these guys out of the way and see where we go from there. Got to keep checking my timer, because these YouTube videos, if you post them any longer than about 14 minutes, they take forever to upload, so I try to keep mine down to 10 or 12. And we'll see how that works. I don't want to go any more than 15 minutes. As you can see, these are different sizes. I think these three are the same size. This is a smaller one, and then there's of course, the larger one. So this can be scaled up or down. Just put it on a printer or go down to Kinko's or someplace like that and just upscale it 10% each time. I think this was the 110%. This was the 100%. And then I've got 80, 90, and 70 below that, some a little bit smaller. So anyway, it gives you a lot of freedom and flexibility, especially with the other patterns that Woodcarving Illustrated put in there. I'm extremely pleased with what they did, and I appreciate what they did to make it more of a project for somebody who doesn't necessarily like hiking. But I've got a lot of friends who have been firefighters or are firefighters. I served in the military, and I'm proud of that, and got a lot of friends that have cousins, family, neighbors and co-workers, and most of us here in Idaho are hunters, so you know, these were appropriate patterns for them to put in there as bonus relief patterns. I do a lot of hiking. I don't do as much now as I used to, because I'm just so doggone busy. I was able to go hiking just the other day with my daughter. That was neat. But anyway, for those of you that are interested in doing some of these, here are some examples. It's in the magazine, and I will put this on my blog, the blog that I have for carving. Sorry, I had to step away for a minute so I could get my piece of paper that has that information on it. ericowensart.blogspot.com and John Eric Owens at Facebook. Find me on either one of those, and I should have this pattern on there as well if you don't have the magazine. So I would encourage you to go buy the magazine because, you know, I look better in front of a whole lot of people. It makes me feel better, but in reality, it's a great magazine to have if you don't already subscribe to Woodcarving Illustrated. It's the only magazine left now that carving has gone defunct, but this is a good one because you've got projects in there for just about everyone. Anyone who wants to carve something. My wife is really enjoying the spoons, whether you're carving from rough outs or heirloom projects or whatever. This is a great magazine, comes out 4 times a year, and then they put out a whittling one as well. But it's a great magazine because it has some of the best instructors in the world, not touting my own horn, but you saw in the magazine there was Harold Enlow and Dwayne Gosnell and a few others. And there are some really good carvers in there in terms of what they do and in terms of the variety of what they do. So everybody who carves, whether you're carving the ultra detailed animals and you're carving them true to life, whether you're carving full-size things, if you're doing small Christmas ornaments, if you're doing little projects like I have right here, it's a great magazine to have. I look forward to getting mine every month, every quarter, sorry. And I really enjoy looking through the projects. Even if I'm not going to do them, I enjoy looking through them because I see what other people are doing. Some of these folks I know, there's an article in here. I think there's an article in here by my friend Tom Ellis from up at Spokane, Washington. So I see articles in there by people I know, people I've met, and people I've worked with and carved with. And it's just a joy to see what everybody else is doing. So I like doing it. I hope you like doing it. Subscribe to the magazine. I don't make a dime off of it if you do, but it's a good magazine to subscribe to if you're a carver, especially if you're a beginner just starting out. You see what other people are doing. If you're an intermediate, you get challenged by some other projects. And if you're an expert, you can keep up with what other experts are doing. So anyway, I have several different blanks here, and we'll start with one of these. I think I'll start with the smaller one because it will take us less time to get that carved out and get that done in a timely fashion. So I'm right at 7-8 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and stop right there. We'll get started on carving and layout in the next one. Make sure you have your safety gear. Make sure you have your gloves with you. Make sure you have your thumb protectors, whatever kind you use. I'll explain what I use on my own. And make sure you have something to strop and make sure your tools are sharp. That's one of the things that I always stress over and over and over. If your tools are not sharp, find somebody who will sharpen them for you or do it yourself. But if you don't sharpen your tools, then you're going to be working against yourself. And carving can be hard enough as it is when you're learning a new project or you're learning how to carve. If you can't sharpen your tools, find somebody who will do it for you. And if you know how to sharpen your tools, I'm not talking about taking a lot of metal off. I'm talking about making sure that your carving tools are as sharp as you can make them. So stropping them often, every 15 to 30 minutes, maybe an hour if you're carving less, or if you've got more tools that you can switch off to. But make sure you're keeping those tools sharp because you'll be less likely to hurt yourself. I know that makes no sense to someone who's not a carver, but the sharper it is, the easier it goes through the wood, which means you're not having to work quite so hard, pushing so hard, and putting things in an awkward position. So take a few moments before you watch the video number 2 to make sure that you can ensure your tools are sharp and that you have the safety gear that you need. After that, we'll take a look at how to lay out and set up and do that here in just a little bit. Talk to you at the next video.